Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out with you here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And appreciate you being here hanging out with us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on facebook.com/livenowdt, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.com. Like I said, we're inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, and Cafe Kubal here for you all throughout our community. 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, as well as 401 South Salina Street. And of course, you can, and those are all in Syracuse. You can go and see them inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. And of course, you can find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road in the Sweetheart Corners location in North Syracuse. So make sure you head out there as well. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Plenty of great stuff coming up here as we are jumping right into things. And thank you for your patience today, as defending New York kids and defending caring about the community apparently is an issue for some people. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and I am here every single Friday to bring that to you. The annoying moment of the week coming up in just a second. And then after the annoying moment of the week, we will have the opportunity to jump into LEAD. Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver is the acronym. And it features not only myself, but Juanita Ward, a motivational speaker, someone who's been a coach throughout history, who played in the WNBA, played for Syracuse women's basketball, has done so many different things, is an author, and she'll be joining us here today to speak on the topic, what is your why? So we'll get into all of that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And of course, we will have our top dog of the week that will be celebrated here today, and that being Anthony DiFino. Anthony DiFino coming from Central New York and moving forward onto the University of Cincinnati to be their Deputy Athletics Director for External Affairs on a team that finally makes history here for the American Athletic Conference and for themselves in breaking what was a glass ceiling I don't think should have ever been there, and making it to the college football playoff. So, with all of that coming up here, we'll round out today's show with Pacer Pride, Marywood Pacers front and center to round out our shows on Friday here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively. And today we'll celebrate the men's and women's swimming and diving teams with head coach Zack Haney, who is an alum of Marywood University, a former swimmer himself. And so we'll get to hear his story, as well as the why of Marywood. Why come to Marywood, and why dedicate yourself to being a part of the Pacers community. So we'll talk about all of that coming up here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, but not before we hop into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I'm really honest. I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. For this week, for me, this is a pretty simple one. When you have an opinion, it doesn't make you right. How about that? When you have an opinion, it doesn't make you right. When someone has a difference of opinion than you, it doesn't make them wrong. And I can have conversations with people, but I can't have conversations with people that seek to be right. And it's a waste of time. You know, people who just like to argue. They want to fight. They want to make it a problem. They want to have an issue. So, you know, I mean, apparently me coming out here in recent history this week, I mean, I've done it all the way through, but I talked about recruiting local. Now, I'm going to say this to the camera, and I'm going to say this to the microphone, and I'm going to hope that people with level heads and a full, ability to understand information and comprehend what's coming out of my mouth, I'm going to be clear about something that I know people will combobble and whatever and mix into something ridiculous. But this is what I said, and this is what I'm saying. When Dino Babers said, or any coach says, that they haven't been to a game all year, that tells the local community, whether you mean it or not, that you don't care. It also tells the local community kids that they're not good enough and they never will be. So I took issue to that. I also take issue to not recruiting locally, but people have gone buck wild trying to find an argument to make something out of nothing. A witch hunt of no witch. Because when I said recruit local, some people thought, so we got to recruit everybody locally, got to get everybody. No. What I said was Stevie Scott, Mike Washington Jr., Dorsey Levens, Latavius Murray, and on 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 and on. That there are players in this community that Syracuse should recruit. They can't make them come to Syracuse. They can't force them to come to Syracuse, but to show them some love and recruit them. Servassier Dennis, who just won an ACC championship with Pitt, was not given an offer by Syracuse. Mike Washington Jr., who's a running back at Buffalo, was not given an offer by Syracuse when he had almost 20 offers. I'm trying to say this as slowly and as clearly as I possibly can because I know that coaches and players' words get switched up around and up and down and around the corner, so I shouldn't be surprised that mine have been. But the annoying moment of the week for me is when I said recruit locally and care about the kids, why did certain people get out of it? That means that I'm saying recruit only Central New York and make your team up of only Central New York and don't go anywhere else in the community ever, at all, never. Did I say those words? No. Did I say anything that sounded like those words? No. Did I say anything that was somewhere like the cousin of those words or a distant uncle? No. It's just people that want to fight. So I cannot be more clear than crystal clear when I say I think you should recruit the local kids that the rest of the country's recruiting because it's embarrassing for you to lose those players to other places like Rutgers or Indiana or any of the Big Ten or inside of the ACC itself like Pittsburgh or Boston College or Colorado State or Buffalo inside of the MAC and so on and so forth. All I said was, if other places think that these kids are really good, why don't you think that the kids are really good? Why do other Division I FBS programs know more about your community than maybe you do? And that's what it feels like when you don't offer these kids. And all I said was there could be a diamond in the rough in Central and Upstate New York, but the people that are fighting me, they're part of the problem. And what I mean by that is they're so anti-recruiting this area because they've been told everybody here sucks. Nobody here is good in Central and Upstate New York. There's no good players. Do you know how asinine that sounds? Do you know how ridiculous and stupid and ignorant that makes you sound? There's not one kid in all of the state of New York that can play football at an ACC level. Not one. At all. Really? There's not one? So, if nothing else came out of this argument, I love spinning the annoying moments to a positive. May this teach every student athlete in the state of New York that I have stuck up for, and I'll stick up for any state anywhere. To the kids of New York State, may this make you work harder. That people that don't even know you don't respect you, don't give you a chance, don't give you an opportunity. They don't even know your name. They don't even know how to pronounce it. Yet they disrespect you. So may this be an opportunity for you to go out there, show what you got, and maybe even work even harder. Not to do it for them, so don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that. Not to do it for them. Do it for you. But to know that I'm rooting for you. I don't care where you play. All I said is Syracuse should give you a shot. That's all I said. I literally had an opinion. that Syracuse should give opportunities to the players that the rest of the country is giving opportunities to. If you're willing to be the 75th offer to a kid in Florida, why not be the first or the 12th or the 17th to somebody in central and upstate New York? That's all I said. There's talented kids throughout the country. And I don't know why I can't be more clear than this. There's talent all over the country. And I think there's talent, oh my God, no, don't say it, in central and upstate New York. I think there's talent there. That's all I think. I think there's talent in the state of New York, and you want to fight me on it. So may this be a message to all the kids out there in the state of New York. I love you. I appreciate you. I want you to win. I want you to do well. I want you to succeed. And if the rest of the world's not going to believe in you, if small minds can't see your worth, may you know that I'm always rooting for you. I came to your games this year. I covered your games. I sat with your coaches and your players. I was with Union Endicott and Maine Endwell and Shenango Forks and Windsor and CNS and CBA and West Genesee and on and on and on. You know, and Andre Fontenette saying it. He played at Syracuse. They got kids in Rochester, and they know that they're not getting looked at. So am I frustrated that people are stupid? No. But when I defend these kids and say just give them a chance, why would you fight me on that? That just makes you evil. It doesn't make you stupid anymore. It makes you stupid and evil. It makes you disrespectful and evil. It makes you ignorant and evil. It makes you illogical and irrational and evil. What did I say? Did I tell Dino not to recruit Florida? No. Did I tell Dino not to recruit the Midwest? No. Did I tell Dino not to go and find a punter in Australia? No. All I said was that there's kids during the time that Dino has been the head coach that he has not recruited that have been very successful in other places, including Stevie Scott and Servassier Dennis. And then when I make that argument and I state my case and you can't go against my facts, what do you say? Well, that's only 3 guys. So then they don't matter? Because there's only 3 of them? Well, does it have to be 85 players that Syracuse misses in the state of New York? Does it have to be 70? Syracuse's most successful teams of the past had players from the community, including Mackie McPherson. Mackie McPherson had 3 out of his 4 seasons. There was a 1,000-yard back at Syracuse when he was the center. He came from CBA, and he was told that he was too short, couldn't play the game. Stevie Scott, over 1,000 rushing yards in a single season at Indiana in the Big Ten, where I think it's harder to run the ball than in the ACC. And arguably, because I know that'll cause another argument, but because they care so much about the trenches and the ground and pound, he runs for over 1,000 yards as a true freshman and sets the single-season rushing record at Indiana. Servassier Dennis, how many awards does he have to win? And his team just won an ACC championship at a rival school of Syracuse at Pittsburgh. Yeah, Dan, that's only 3 guys. It's only 2 guys. It's only blah, blah guys, blah, blah guys, blah, guys. I don't care your argument. I don't care what your argument is. Because all I said was care, go to their games, and try. What if you didn't recruit any of the players from Central and Upstate New York? You just went to a game or 2. Do you know what that would do for a kid? Do you know how hard it would push them? Maybe they end up at Western Michigan. Maybe they end up at North Dakota. Maybe they end up at Pitt. Maybe they end up at Rutgers. But do you know how much it would mean to them? Do you know how much it would mean to them to have you come out to their game and how hard they would fight? It's a community builder. At a dome that is not even half full half the time, it would behoove Syracuse to consider the talent in their backyard. That's all I said. Consider it and do your best to not let it get out of here. Because the mentality, the notion that they're recruiting these kids is idiotic. Because you're saying it from your chair. I'm saying it. You're saying as an armchair quarterback. I'm saying it from being on the recruiting trail and talking to the kids. They're not getting recruited by Syracuse. They're not getting offers by Syracuse. They might get a phone call, but they're not getting an offer. So stop telling me they're not coming here because they don't want to come here. They're not coming here because they're not getting an opportunity because they don't have an offer. You can't come here if you don't have an offer. That's facts. So I'm not here to do anything more than to support every kid everywhere that has a dream, including the kids of upstate New York. Why do they not get to have a dream? That's all I'm asking. Why don't they get to matter? That's all I'm asking. And on a team that's lost a ton of roster spots, maybe this year you can look. Maybe. Because if a kid's recruited from New Jersey and he fails, then people go, oh, well, you know, Dino tried and it didn't work. Or a kid from Florida and he fails, oh, well, Dino tried and it didn't work. But if a kid's from New York, it's the kid's fault? There's such a negative stigma of New York State. And all I'm trying to do is let the kids know from every high school within the state of New York to keep working, keep trying, and to know that somebody's out here caring about you. You want me to apologize that I care about the kids? I'm not gonna. So that's the end of that. The Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. And when we come back, we will get ourselves into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, featuring my partner Juanita Ward, as we have a conversation about what is your why. Once again, the conversation, what is your why? The Annoying Moment of the Week has been brought to you by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. And we'll be back with Lead right after this, inside the Cafe Kubal Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvelanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You're also watching and listening on facebook.com/livenowdt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're tuning in, thank you so much for being a part of the show, and I appreciate you for being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And so I do want to make a note here as things happen whenever it seems like when I'm on the air, things always happen. and unfortunately, due to this COVID pandemic that's been going on, I do have to make this announcement right before we hop into lead. And that announcement is because I want people to know this. I know people have travel plans and things that they're doing, so I do want to let you all know this as it just came out, as Syracuse has postponed games for men's basketball. I'm sharing this on social media right now so that you have it, but Syracuse has officially taken their next 2 games and have postponed those games due to the COVID pandemic. So I do want to let you all know, it says Syracuse University's Department of Athletics today announced the next 2 men's basketball games are postponed due to COVID protocols, and those games are going to be Saturday, December 18th against Lehigh, and Tuesday, December 21st against Cornell. So just to make note of that, and there'll be more that I'll talk to about that as we get forward here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. But I just want to let you all know, in case you were planning on doing that with the family, in case I'm traveling out and whatnot, I wanted to make sure that I told you as soon as I got the information, because I wanted y'all to stay safe and stay well. So that is something that I made sure that we did here today. And speaking of what we're doing here today, lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. It is my honor and it is my privilege to have Juanita Ward here with me every single Friday broadcast at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And it means the world to me to have her here on the show. She is a fantastic human being. She's done so much. Her relationship with God is a beautiful thing, and what she's done as an author, as well as a motivational speaker, and so many other things that she's done in her life, as well as playing the game of basketball, and what she's been able to do as a coach as well. She has been an incredible asset to this world, and an asset to to people that are out there trying to do good things. So I'm honored and I'm privileged as always to have my sister here on the show. And with that being said, let's bring her in, Miss Juanita Ward. Juanita, how are we doing today?
Hey, Dan, how's it going?
It's going very well. And Juanita, we're jumping right into what is your why. And I think it's, that's such a great thing, because I think that sometimes we get lost in the grand scheme of things, and we might forget what our why is, or we may get into something and not even know what our why was of why we got into it. And I think it's important to remember that, because when you don't know what your why is, you can lose your identity. When you don't know what your why is, people can manipulate you. When you don't know what your why is, you can kind of succumb to some of those things that are of the secular, behavior, so to speak. And so I think forgetting your why sometimes means forgetting yourself. And so it's imperative to remember, when I'm going down this path, why did I choose to go down this path? What am I going down to this path for? And so I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Dan, I think that's a great point. Sometimes we can forget why we do what we do. And you mentioned we can forget our why. As you said before, this show is lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. And so the good thing about what we can do is we can learn what our why is. Most importantly, before you know your why, you have to have something in front of you to lead. You have to be a great follower to understand your why. And as I said before, I'm so grateful that you allowed this show to be open so that we can talk about the Lord Jesus Christ and talk about how good God is. And in order to understand your why, you have to have a great follower in front of you. Everything that you do has to be to glorify God, as Colossians chapter 3, verse 23 talks about. You have to be able to glorify God in the midst of your why, because your knowledge, your understanding, your strategy comes from a place of being grounded, being cultivated, being covered, having structure, and understanding your why. You have to transform your mind to see what is important. Because as you mentioned, the word secular, which was absolutely beautiful, we can become so programmed to secular things other than becoming relatable to what is true, relatable to reality, to what is true. And this is what I mean. If you have nothing inside of you to eat from, how will you survive? If you're only eating from a secular perspective and you're never feeding your spirit man, how do you survive? You cannot survive, because out of your heart comes impurities. What you see, what you think, what you hear, what you speak, that's coming from your heart. And there's a ton of impure things in you that you have to be completely transformed from, because we're in the world but not of the world. And we have to understand that in order to understand our why, it is very essential to be a follower of someone that is a great leader, someone that has great authority, someone that is leading you down a pathway that is good. And that is being in constant relation with God, being in constant relation with people that he has placed in your life to help lead you down the right path. Because otherwise, we're confused. Otherwise, we're doing things that are not right, thinking that they are right. We say things that are not right, thinking that we're saying things that are right. And sometimes when people say things, it continuously hurts. It continuously brings up past hurts. You know, sometimes people say things just to say them, and they'll end up hurting somebody because they want to make their point. Understanding why you do what you do is very important. And it will help you in your future. It will help you open up doors, open up opportunities, because now you have transformed your mind to not think from a secular perspective, but from a kingdom-minded perspective.
Yeah, you know, I think when we're discovering, and like you said, sometimes people, you know, hurt people to make their points, you know, and I was dealing with that this morning. You know, I was talking about supporting the state of New York and supporting the kids here and supporting the talent that they have in football. And somebody seeking to make a point switched my words around, twisted my words, pulled them apart, and just started this giant argument where all I ever said was, hey, I care about the kids, and I just want to see them succeed, and it'd be great to have them come to Syracuse if that's where they want to go. And that's all I said. And I know these kids. You know, Juanita, and you've been a coach, and you know how important that is. And I just find in today's world that we live in, people just, they take out one word from a big sentence and they make that into something, but they forget the sentence. Or they take a sentence out of a paragraph and they don't look at the whole paragraph. And it's so easy for you and I, who care so much, to get locked into that and say, okay, we got to defend this. We got to defend what's going on here because this is our message and this is that. Instead of taking a step back and saying, sometimes letting somebody else think that they're right, that's okay. It's silence, because this is the thing that I've realized before. Silence doesn't mean you're wrong. Silence means you've had enough stupidity. Silence means you had enough negativity. Sometimes taking a step out of it and saying, why am I going to get my heart rate up? Why am I going to dry my throat out? Why am I going to give myself a headache? It's okay to say, you know what? I know what I meant. I know what I said. I know my why. And not everybody has to know that. And that's okay. You know, I found myself this morning saying, why am I trying to get a message through to somebody that doesn't want to hear it? They just want to argue. And Juanita, I think it's important in life to know when you're talking to somebody that wants a solution or somebody that wants to have a conversation versus somebody that just wants to have an argument.
It's very important of silence. Silence is very important, especially when there is a conversation a conversation topic that could be controversial. And every conversation does not require one person's opinion. So if there's two people talking and one person has a strong opinion about something and the other person has an opinion, but the topic could be controversial, the other person may do better by not speaking, just by nodding. And you mentioned something, sometimes your silence is the most powerful thing that you have. And it's amazing today. People, this world, does not take the time to just listen. They don't take the time to hear the words that they speak before they speak them. It is very important to hear your statement before you actually make the statement. What am I saying? Stop acting off of impulse and hear what's being said. And when you hear what's being said, it's not that you're actually just listening to the words of what someone is saying, but you have to listen to the direction of the way it's being said. You have to listen to what type of hidden agenda is being presented to cause you to say something that may not be right. Everybody that has a topic or a conversational piece, in your circle of friends or in your business circle, every conversational piece does not require your opinion. Doesn't require your opinion. And then people get involved in these conversations, and then they have to back themselves out of it. Every conversational piece does not require every topic. Sometimes we can look at things and go, oh my gosh, wow. I mean, you can say, what in the world happened? How in the world that happened? But, sometimes just saying, wow, will help. And the most important thing, like I said earlier, if you want to continue to be successful in why you do what you do, silence is so key. James 1:19 says, be slow to speak, slow to anger, quick to listen. Why is it important? Why is it essential to listen? You notice I just said why? Why is it important to listen? Because it's in the moment of your quietness that you get an opportunity to think. You get an opportunity to hear what's being said, and you get an opportunity to think. Early in the morning when you wake up, you should have a time of quietness.
Yeah.
Because quietness allows the storms to calm. Quietness allows you to hear what you need to do for that day. And it just completely dissolves everything. It puts your body in a state of rest and comfort. When you can, some people say meditate. I like to just say, just get quiet. Just get quiet. If you're going to meditate, that's great. Meditate. But I like to just say get quiet. It's the same thing as meditate. Because the word of the Lord says in Joshua 1:8 to meditate on this book, the Bible, day and night. Never let it depart. And why is that true? Because it'll stop you. If you read some of the stuff that's in the word, it will stop you. It tells you put a guard at your lips. Put a guard at your mouth. Because what you say costs so much. You have to put a guard at your lips, at your mouth, so that you don't get yourself in trouble. Trying to say the wrong, trying to prove your point. I have to say this because Proverbs 21:23 says this: watch your words and be careful what you say, and you'll be surprised by how few troubles you'll have. Did you hear what I said, Dan? I mean, this is what we're talking about, man.
Yeah.
Watch your words and be careful what you say, and you'll be surprised by how few troubles you'll have. What am I saying? Stop talking so much, people. Listen. If you listen, guess what will happen? You'll get yourself out of trouble. And on top of that, you'll have time to calm down. You'll have time to think. You'll have time to hear what's really being said. You know, there's a message always behind the message. And some people don't really understand that. Everybody that speaks is not really what you hear sometimes. Sometimes there's a message behind the message, and you have to listen to hear the person's secret motives and hidden agendas.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about what's your why, I mean, this topic can go in any type of direction. But specifically, if we're talking about what's your why, you have to understand why God has created you to be the warrior that you are. And the only way that you can figure that out is you have to have a relationship with him to seek him. You have to get deeper into his word, because in his word, just as I read, was so common language. It was so common, just like you and I are talking right now. To have a relationship and understand why it's important, you have to be disciplined. You have to have self-control. You have to be disciplined to have self-control. You have to have self-control to be disciplined. In order to function in this world, self-control and discipline is very, very important. They should be your clothes that you wake up every day and put on. Because your flesh says, man, I'm about to pop off. I'm about to tell you the truth. How I'm about to tell you what I want to say, how I'm going to say it, when I'm going to say it. But that's not right. That's not right, because it will stop your blessings. It will stop your opportunities. Sometimes, to be the bigger person, you have to just stop talking and just listen. It's powerful.
Yeah, it is. I think that people think they win an argument if they're the last person talking. You know, I think that's how, you know, people, and I've been wrong in that sense in my past as well, you know, but I think in things that I've done, you know, even in the here and now, I think that, you know, people think I won because I was the last person to shut up. So, you know, like, I got him, you know what I mean? It's like, you didn't get anybody. So I think for me, or somebody thinks they won if they get you to stop talking, right? I beat you because now you're not saying anything anymore. And it's like, I don't know if that, you know what I mean? And so I think this is the big thing around this. And this is where I'm getting at, and this is where I am, and this is a place that I'm comfortable living in. Juanita, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. It doesn't matter what other people say about you. What matters is what God sees in you, what God believes in you. And to some people that might sound crazy. Dan, what does it matter what God thinks of me? Everything. That's what everything. Because this is how I look at life. People come and go. Conversations come and go. A person who's screaming at you on Twitter right now, they're going to go away and scream at somebody else in an hour. But who you are and what you choose to become, that stays with you forever. Who you are and what you choose to become, the God that loves you and believes you, stays with you forever. Life ain't easy. People get crazy. Juanita and I know it. Some people are like a sweet breeze on a cool summer day. And some people are that fly that you're like, if this fly come in my house one more time, I swear to you. So, but that's life. God sends you the sweet breeze and he sends you the flies. And you know what I learned? I didn't learn to wait to be happy when the sweet breeze comes and to be angry when the flies are there. And when the flies are there, to tell God, I don't want the flies here anymore. Send me that sweet breeze. What I learned was to be my own sweet breeze. Let the flies come. Let the breeze come. Because if you're waiting on somebody else or something else outside of yourself to be your why, to help you be happy, I'll be happy if God sends me a breeze, but if he sends me a fly, I'm gonna be upset today. No. That's what I learned about my life. That's what I learned about my happy and my why. When I became the source of my own happiness, sitting with God and hanging out with him every day, when that became my happiness and that became my place of refuge and that became my place of a stress-free environment, that is when I realized I wasn't waiting for God to send me a breeze and I wasn't complaining when he sent me a fly. Because when you find from within how to be your own sweet breeze, you don't care when the flies come, and you're not waiting for somebody to make you happy or determine who you are or determine your why. When you stop asking other people to make you right and prove you right, and you can just live within yourself and confident in yourself and focused on what you believe in and what you care about, and open to other people's opinions, when you can be the source with God, when you and God can be enough, you stop asking for God to bring you stuff to make you enjoy your life. And you spend that time that you used to been complaining and worrying, enjoying it. Flies will come, breezes will come. But when you become a source of peace for your own self, you're not waiting for somebody else to make you relevant, to make you right, or to make you feel important. And that, to me, is a true victory in life.
That's great, Dan. You know, it's not the seeking of the validation. You don't need to seek validation. People don't need to seek validation in someone else to give them what they can put inside of themselves. People don't need to seek validation in other people so that they can put what's inside of them. They don't need to seek validation in other people because other people are going to tell you what they think. Here's the thing. You have to see yourself through the lens of what God thinks. And what does God say? That you are a beautiful rose. You are his flower. You are the apple of his eye. You are the apple of his eye. And so what's happening here? In order to be a better person for somebody else, you have to clean yourself up. You have to look yourself in the mirror and clean out your heart. You have to look yourself in the mirror and clean out your closet. But you clean out your closet with you and God, not with you and everybody else. Don't lash out on everybody else because somebody else has an opinion and you're trying to clean out what's inside of you because of your frustrations of this world or your frustrations of life circumstances. You cannot seek validation in somebody else trying to take out what's inside of you so that they can pump back into you. In order to understand why you do what you do, the only person that knows you in and out, knows your beginning from your end, knows everything in the middle is God. And here's the best way to just talk to him. Just do it. Hey, God, I know I ain't talked to you in a long time. We probably hadn't had a conversation in a very long time. And to be honest with you, God, I really don't know how to talk to you. But, hey, how you doing? And just listen for him to actually tell you, I'm good. I'm well. How you doing, daughter? How you doing, son? It's the feeling that comes over you. It's the feeling that takes over your body to know that you have faith enough to do it. And yeah, you're going to have some people that are going to be sarcastic and do it just to be sarcastic. Just go out there and be like, yeah, hey, God, yeah, I ain't feel nothing. I didn't hear anything. You know, God knows every single person, and he knows how every single person is going to act, how they're going to respond. He knows the sarcastic people. He knows the people that are going to do things just to do them, and he knows the people that are sincere in their heart. He knows the people that are really, really sincere, that are really trying to seek him.
Yeah.
He knows all of those things. And that's the reason why he sends spiritual laborers. You know, that's the reason why he sends people around, spiritual laborers, to help. You know, we don't have to look for validation in the wrong places. Our validation should come from up. Look up. Find your validation through the word. You want to get closer? You want to have a deeper relationship? Go to the word. People say, well, I don't know where to start. I tell you this. There's a New Testament. Start at John. In the New Testament, in the Bible, read John. You want to have a deeper relationship with Jesus? Start reading John. Because John tells you all about who he is. And then you start to understand what he sees in you, how he cares about you. Yeah. And then you can go over to Proverbs and get some wisdom. Proverbs in the Old Testament. And you can get wisdom, just as we read a little while ago. understanding our why, you understand this most important principle. If you stop talking and if you listen, you will keep yourself from a whole bunch of trouble. And on top of that, you'll understand strategies and plans that needs to take place in order for you to have a better future, in order for you to have a better opportunity. Because sometimes people just want to talk and get it out. It doesn't require always a comeback. It doesn't require that. And I want to piggyback off of something that you said earlier because I thought it was so profound. People are looking for, they're looking for validation. They're looking for something, and they're looking for a lot of things. And so I wanted to just include this. You know how they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder?
Yeah.
Well, power is in the mouth of the one who holds their words. So if beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, power is in the one that holds their words, that holds their emotion. That's true power. If you want to have true authority, stop talking. If you want to look like you know it all, keep talking. Because an empty wagon just goes. It has no type of direction. No one is leading that empty wagon because it continuously just runs.
Yeah.
But when you put something inside of the empty wagon, you know how to control it. You have someone that's controlling the empty wagon. So it's important, it's essential to stop talking so that you can hear your plan, so that you can become a great follower and understanding why you do what you do. You'll understand the purpose by your quiet time. You'll understand the purpose by your prayer. You'll understand the purpose by just simply not talking and listening for the strategy. Two people cannot talk. If two people are talking, you can't hear what someone else is saying. And you may not be saying a word, but if inside of your brain you're saying something, you never heard what the person was saying.
Yeah.
So quiet yourself. And understanding that, you'll understand why you do what you do and how you do what you do. You gain more knowledge by being quiet. You gain more understanding by being quiet. I mean, in school, in the study, classroom, when you're doing your homework, they tell you to shh. In the library, they tell you to shh. No talking. Why? Because you actually get a time to listen.
Yeah.
You actually get a time to read. You get a time to process your thoughts. If the library can understand discipline and self-control, we should take those same principles outside of the library into our regular life.
In the famous words of Missy Elliott, quiet, hush your mouth. So that's what I'm hearing. And I'm gonna remember that when I need to remember that. When she yelled out, quiet, hush your mouth. So it's true. It's true. Juanita Ward, as always, I appreciate you, sis. I love you. You mean the world to me. And I'm just so happy that these conversations get me to such a good place that I need to get back to. And they do so much for me. I know they do so much for other people. So thank you for being a guide and a guard. And thank you for just being an awesome person. I love you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thanks, man. God is good, man. Love you back, man. Take care.
Take care. That coming from Juanita Ward on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We'll take a quick step aside for a fast break. When we spin back around, we'll be here with our top dog of the week, celebrating Anthony DiFino right after this inside the Cafe Kubal studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal here with you on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse, as well with their drive-through location, as well as 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, 3501 James Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, and inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital in downtown Syracuse. So make sure you check them out at all locations, including inside of PB&J's Lunchbox on 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. It's that time of the broadcast, which I'm ecstatic to be able to do this, and those of you that know my dog, you know that her name is Lily, and so she's helped out with this, but every week we honor our top dog of the week on Fridays right around 10 a.m. Eastern Time, so it's time to do that. Our top dog of the week this week, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, proudly honoring Anthony DiFino. He thought he was coming on the show today to, do a live conversation and, talk about this, that, and the other. What he didn't know was that ahead of that conversation, I was going to be honoring him as the top dog of the week. Comes from Central New York, and so do I. I have been supporting Central New York since birth and love the people that have come out of here. Blue-collar, hardworking, just incredible people. And the DiFino family has meant a lot to me in general. Anthony, and obviously I've had some time with Lenny as well. Anthony here to me has been someone who has worked in the trenches, has worked kind of, behind the scenes, and has brought himself to a place where he is climbing the ladder of the athletic department world, the world of everything that goes on that you might think, wow, that happened seamlessly. How did it happen? And to see behind the scenes who's working on that. So our top dog of the week this week is a Central New York native, as well as someone that I appreciate and value my relationship with person to person, and I'm just very honored and privileged to know him. He's at the University of Cincinnati now as the Deputy AD for External Affairs, with an incredible university, with an incredible opportunity coming up with the college football playoff. So it is my honor and a blessing to be able to say that not only is he here with us this morning live, but he is our top dog of the week for all the work that he's done that he hasn't asked anybody to thank him for, and that's Anthony DiFino. Anthony, how are we doing today?
Dan, I appreciate the kind words. You pulled the trick on me there. That's what you did, but it's fun to be on with you, and appreciate you doing this, and just happy to be a Central New York guy trying to go out in the world and do some fun things in the sports world. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and Anthony, Central New York means blank to you. How would you describe CNY?
It's home. Grew up going to every single Orangeman game I could with my family and my dad, and it's home. It's the reason I went left my time at Penn State to go spend 5 years back there with my family before I came to Cincinnati. There's nothing better than Central New York when it comes to the change of the seasons. You get to see all the foliage, you get to see a lot of snow, and the summers are great, but that's where the family is. And you obviously mentioned Lenny. That's where my brothers are, my sister are. I mean, they're still there. We always converge on Central New York around the holidays, and it just means the world to me.
And coming from Anthony DiFino here, being honored as our top dog of the week. And Anthony, amidst the pandemic, there's different changes that went on in people's lives, hopefully positive. In your world, and to kind of paint the picture for people who don't know, when Anthony and I bumped into each other again here recently, I was out at Cincinnati. I was at Nippert Stadium. First time I had been out there. I've covered the American Athletic Conference and all their teams for almost a decade now, from their beginning to where they are, I believe 2013 and now. And so in coverage of Cincinnati, I covered Cincinnati like a lot of teams from afar, and then when we had, media days and whatnot, we get to talk to them and whatnot, but haven't been out to every stadium. Well, this is the first time I went to Nippert Stadium. I heard great things about it from AAC Commissioner Mike Oresco. I was excited to get out there. Loved it from the moment that I walked across the street and just looked at campus, went out to the baseball field, took some pictures, saw the soccer field, and then I walked my way down. I go into the press box, and I get up to grab myself some food, and I walk to the left, and sitting there is Anthony DiFino. And I'm going, how in the heck are there two people from Central New York in Cincinnati right now, casually in the same area? And that's when Anthony told me, yeah, during this pandemic, I made the move and came down here at the beginning of this year, I believe. I think it was January of 2021, came down to the University of Cincinnati. So bring me into what brought you to Cincinnati.
Yeah, so going back to probably almost 6 years ago, a gentleman by the name of John Cunningham, who was the deputy AD at Syracuse, he and Mark Coyle hired me to Syracuse. 3 months later, they leave to go to Minnesota. I'm home in Syracuse. I'm like, all right, I'm in Syracuse. I'm not going to Minnesota. But fast forward 5 years later, John's the AD at Cincinnati, and he had this deputy AD role open. We had a few conversations, and it truly, I got to campus, and I was like, oh my God, this campus is amazing from just a cultural fit, from a community fit. You have 46,000 students, but when you get to the athletic village area, I would call it, on campus, this is phenomenal. They poured $90 million or so into the football stadium, about the same amount into the basketball arena. Everything's right there. Like you said, you go over, you see baseball, you 5 steps away to the football stadium. So I was floored. I was excited for the opportunity. I spent 5 years at Syracuse. It was an awesome 5 years. I learned a lot. John Wildhack is a phenomenal leader. I learned a lot from him. There's a lot of great things going on at Syracuse. It was a time for me to reflect and say, okay, what do I want to do in my career? And John Cunningham, as the AD at Cincinnati, had this opening, and from that perspective, I've usually worked around teams where we had a lot of seats to fill in the stadium. This was a case of going into an opportunity where it's like, how do you maximize the revenue on every seat in the stadium? How do you get the customer service to a high expectation? So there's things we could tweak, and you're coming out of the pandemic where no one was in stadium. So how do we work through that? So just the opportunity alone, and I have some sport oversight now, so I'm our sport administrator for men's basketball. That's something I didn't have the responsibilities of at Syracuse. So again, you mentioned climbing the ladder. I just kind of see it more as the opportunity to better myself as an administrator. But yeah, the funny thing is, I never sit in the press box, and that was the only game, that AAC championship game, that I actually sat in the press box. Because we were kind of watching other games on TV, kind of score watching, seeing what Michigan was doing that night, Ohio State, all that. And along comes Dan. I think I'm trying to drink my coffee and not stress out about beating Houston that night. And there you are. It's like, oh my goodness. The funny story is, you wouldn't believe this, but actually in our department, there's another Central New York native, Andre Cioldo. I think he's a few years older than me, but you wouldn't believe that there's actually 2 Central New York college punters on staff at Cincinnati. So that blew my mind too. So it all wraps it all in a gift and puts the bow on top.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, and we travel well, as we've been told. So that coming from Anthony DiFino here with us. Anthony, you're the Deputy AD of External Affairs, and that is your focus, External Affairs for the University of Cincinnati. Bring me into what that is, what that means. I know you talked about, maximizing each seat in the stadium and kind of what you're looking to do there and whatnot, but what have been some of your projects and the here and now when we look at external affairs that have really excited you about what you're doing in Cincinnati?
Yeah, we have a phenomenal staff here, and that staff, we have our ticket sales unit, ticket operations unit, our creative folks, our digital team, our sponsorship team, communications. But we really have, I think, one of the most undervalued staffs in the entire nation. People go out there and try to press for awards and be like the best athletic department or the best marketing department. This is a staff that just wants to kind of hide and do their job and do it well and get better every day, and they don't care about awards or accolades. And that's the type of group I like being around, because if you're trying to focus on winning awards, you're not focusing on the right things of treating your customers right, making sure their experience is awesome. So that's really where it begins and ends, is, as long as we have a focus on our customers, our donors, we're treating them right, we expect them to come back and, partake in game day experiences, treating our students right. We just want to make it a great experience for them. So that's our focus every single day. How we communicate, some of the graphics we put out, the videos that we're creating. I'm telling you, we have a highly talented team, undervalued across the board in terms of getting the credit they deserve, but they don't care about that. They just want to go out there, do their job, have a lot of fun. But again, maximizing revenue is important. We are making a transition to being a Power 5 school, so ensuring one of those things is, okay, if there's an opportunity to go to a Power 5 Power 5 league, we have to make sure we're putting ourselves in a position to be what we're calling day one ready. So we're not playing catch up when we're actually playing the games versus teams like Oklahoma or Kansas State now, but that we're ready now. And, so Houston, UCF, us, all coming out of the American, going into the Big 12, we're all on the same page. We all have to get ready, because in 2 or 3 years, we're going to be playing these games against probably the best competition out there. And I do think the Big 12 is going to be a phenomenal league with the addition of our teams coming in.
And Anthony, for you, when you talk about that move to the Big 12, how involved is your position in all of this? So when there's a conversation of a team, a school, an institution leaving for another conference, how privy were you to all of this? Are you sitting with the AD? Is there discussion going on of like, hey, do we want to do this? Where do we want to go? When the chips started, when Oklahoma and Texas decided to go to the SEC, how quickly did Cincinnati have conversations, and what's the background of this look like as far as, you know, how involved you are and the department is in really making a decision on, do we move, do we stay, where do we go if we do move? Bring me into it.
Yeah, I think the groundwork was laid probably 10 years ago or so, and there was a group here that really were trying to elevate the experience for the student athletes, trying to get into the Big 12. Eventually, it didn't come to fruition. However, you know, yes, I am talking with our athletic director, but really those conversations were like if and when. If this were to happen, how do we plan for it? What are we going to do? And then the Texas and Oklahoma thing happened, and it was, you know, the roof was blown off the thing. You're like, oh my God, what do we do now? So, you know, you kind of position yourself, and I think that was the 10-year positioning. You mentioned the millions of dollars they put into the football stadium and the basketball arena, and just getting the department right and getting the facilities right to be ready to go. So I think, you know, it truly was this kind of long tail of events that happened. So we were always kind of in that position. We were always ready. I wasn't here, so I can't take any credit for it, obviously. But now, it was all us. No, it wasn't. It just so happened that when those two teams moved, and there were all these conversations going on, like what's going to happen, who's going to go where. There's all that speculation. You know, we were just in a good position to have the right conversations. You know, our president, our director of athletics, you know, they were thorough in their approach in terms of understanding what the contingencies would be. But at the end of the day, we landed in a great spot. I think it's the right spot. You know, we're going to be playing teams like West Virginia. We're going to have some of those rivals. We're going to, you know, Houston and Cincinnati right now, you could consider them a football rival just based on this last game. And, you know, I wouldn't say it's like a rival, but we're bringing some of those historical games over the last few years with us, UCF too. It's just going to be fun. And it was a fun process to go through because, like I said, it was so unexpected for that to happen. We thought, okay, maybe this was a 3, 5, 7 year plan of how do we navigate conference realignment when it's going to happen because of the TV deals. And then that happens. You're like, oh my God, we got to move. We got to figure something out.
Yeah, you know, and I think, and like you said, coming to Cincinnati, you know, more recently here, that these conversations were had, you know, a decade ago and leading up to this. But a couple of years ago, there was a notion the Big 12 could take some schools. I know that was before you were there, but it goes back and forth. When you come and you sit down with the brass at Cincinnati now, is that where you kind of got the, you know, the knowledge and the wisdom of them saying, hey, you know, this was kind of put in place and then this was planned out, and then a couple of years ago, this is why this didn't happen? Like, it despite the fact that you weren't there for the last 9 of the 10 years, did you have kind of like a blueprint, or was there kind of a step process of saying, hey, Anthony, let's you know, speed you up on what's going on here, and this is kind of what it looks like? Was there something to that extent of, hey, this is why we are where we are right now, and make you privy to the information, so to speak?
A little. I mean, you go back to the kind of decisions that were made, you know, almost a decade ago, and just get the understanding of the why. And I don't think there was ever a why. It was just a, hey, we chose these teams. So I think they just wanted to position themselves to be in the conversation. I think they did a great job of that. So, you know, there wasn't a blueprint. There wasn't it was just more conversation. If this were to happen, what do we need to do? If this were to happen, are we prepared? And if the answer was no, then okay, let's look at the resources and assets we needed. Are we ready to be a Power 5 school? You're coming from Syracuse and the ACC. They have the ACC network. Well, what if one of the Power 5 programs we went into had a network deal? Were we ready to do what we need to do from a conference perspective in terms of producing television? And so things like that we were looking at. Are we ready? And really that's what it's about now is now we have a few years to be day one ready in terms of what are those assets we're going to need to be ready for the Big 12. Now that we're laser focused on what is the Big 12 about, what do they have in place, and what do we need to do to get to that level?
Yeah, and to see this move to the Big 12, what do you want to say to the American Athletic and how you were treated, what that experience was like, and then secondly, what you look forward to for the Big 12? How would you kind of define how the American experience has been, and then maybe what the Big 12 experience is going to be, because you're meeting people from both worlds and from both conferences. So what has that been like to, say goodbye to one and say hello to another?
The American Athletic Conference has been phenomenal. I've been impressed with them from the second I got on campus here. I think they have phenomenal employees. They have people who are very supportive of us and of all schools. I think they give you the resources necessary. Look, if the American weren't at the level that it was at, I don't think 3 schools would be making the jump to the Big 12. They put schools in position to be extremely successful, and they're great people and they're very supportive. They're always going to look out for the student athletes and what's best for them. And this isn't the end of having conversations with those employees and people from the American. I mean, we're still all playing the same sports, and we're going to have contests against each other. There's a lot that it's not like, hey, see you later, American. It is truly like still a collaboration, because you still have to work with those athletic directors, and you're still going to see them at conferences, and you're still going to have to see the conference commissioners and work on legislation and everything that the NCAA requires you to do. So I think the relationship is strong, and as you work towards the Big 12, there's a lot that we need to do to be ready. But that conference has been phenomenal. Conversations we've had in terms of, okay, help guide us on this, and this to make sure we're ready for you. When the time is right. That's those are things that we're trying to prep, especially in my world. You don't think of it, but okay, we have a football stadium. It's sold out pretty much, but the Big 12 requires consignment tickets to visiting teams. Okay, how many? Oh no, Dan, watch out. We actually have to kick some people out of our sections to create room for consignment tickets for visiting teams that weren't necessarily a requirement in the AAC. So there's little things like that we're not thinking about until we have those conversations, and we have to plan for those now, because when we make the move, we can't kick people out then. So there's a lot of those little nuances that are different between the leagues. It even might be like, hey, where are you placing the band on game days? Well, the band can't be here, the band can't be here, you can't have your student section here. So there's some adjustments we're going to have to make, and they might impact the fans a little bit, but overall we're trying to really minimize what's happening there in terms of how this impacts our student athletes and our fans. Because at the end of the day, it's about Cincinnati being the best Cincinnati we can be, and whether that's in the American or the Big 12, we still have to compete for conference titles, and we still want to make postseason play, and we just have to put our student athletes in that position.
And that coming from Anthony DiFino here, giving us a background on what it looks like, not only with the University of Cincinnati and their successes, but in a very unique situation of being in the American Athletic and preparing for the Big 12. Anthony, before I let you go, you brought up the bands. One of the coolest experiences I've seen, and I've been able to travel to different places and to see different pregame rituals and really, what makes a school unique. And coming to Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, I was buying something, I was grabbing something there quick, and all of a sudden I hear this chant, and I hear this, behind me, and I'm looking around, I'm going, what's going on? and I see the band in unison. They're cheering, they're playing their instruments, and they're going throughout the entire kind of outer ring of the stadium here. And as they're doing this, once they do that, then they're filing into their seats, and the fans are cheering with them. They know the chant, and there was something to be said about just how clean it was and how focused it was, almost like militant in the sense of it was structured, it was good, it sounded great, the acoustics were awesome, and then to hear that chant continue throughout the game, I have to give props to the University of Cincinnati for having a great pregame ritual and for having a really awesome atmosphere during the game, and your band was incredible, and they were really the focal point of that to get everybody going.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that's a lot of hard work of our director of bands, the band itself, and just it speaks to what we have going on at Cincinnati. I was blown away. Game one, I was expecting maybe a fun game day. You got a winning team. You have this team you're playing extremely well, but when I saw students in their seats an hour pregame, I'm not talking like 2 rows of students like someplace. I'm talking the whole student section was filled an hour pregame. And then that consistently happened every single game. I mean, people love their football here, especially good football. The band, they drive the game atmosphere. It is neat. I'm going out and I'm going to say this. I think it's a top 10 football game day. Everyone's like, you have to get I worked at Army. You have to get to Army. You have to watch a game at Army. It's just awesome. You have to go to Penn State. I worked at Penn State. I saw that. Michigan, Ohio State, some of these bigger stadiums. Hey, you have to go to LSU and tailgate. I'm telling you, this is a top 10 experience. You have to get to a game at Nippert Stadium. The stadium, it's sunk in. It's 37,000 of your closest friends, really close, high pitches. So you're on top of the game action. I love it. It is one of the best things I've seen. It's just been consistent. I've been blown away by our fans. They show up. They're loud. They understand football. They really, I think they impact the game to a degree that, puts the home field advantage in place. I think, 26 or 27 wins in a row at Nippert. Like, they haven't lost. Desmond Ritter has not lost a home game in Nippert his entire career.
Yeah.
Because of the atmosphere they bring. So I'd encourage anyone, Dan, you saw it firsthand. It is different. I put it right up there with any other place I've worked or I've seen. It's a phenomenal game day experience.
We look at the fact of this game day experience now going on the road and seeing what this team can do in the college football playoff. It's history for the University of Cincinnati. It's history for Luke Fickell, the head coach. It's history for those student athletes and guys like Desmond Ritter that decided to come back. It's history for the American Athletic Conference that you're still a part of. What can you say about that? Because I made it a point. I said, not only am I going to, because I did see Cincinnati in the AAC championship game in 2019 when they were at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, and then we weren't able to go last year because media wasn't allowed and fans and all that stuff, so I had to do it virtually against Tulsa. But to be able to be there, I wanted to be there because I've banged the drum for Cincinnati all season long and check the tape, people. And so I definitely respect Luke Fickell. I respect Desmond Ritter, Sauce, all the guys there want to see this team do well, felt that they deserved to be in the college football playoff last year, and this year definitely was pushing for it. I want to let you know, Anthony, that I timed it right. Thank God. This is a God thing. This is not me. When I was flying home the next day, I said to myself, okay, so my hope was to get down to this game, and I respect Houston and Cincinnati, but I wanted to obviously see Cincinnati take care of business to see them get into the college football playoff. We're watching the Baylor game against Oklahoma State. We're paying attention to that. Notre Dame was brought up, which I didn't see how that was even a thing because Cincinnati beat them. So I'm looking at the different avenues that can happen. I get on my flight. I land in LaGuardia. I got about 20 minutes. I'm trying to get the app on my phone so I can see the selection show. I get the selection show on my phone, and then I sit in the airport and do a live in-the-moment broadcast while I'm sitting waiting for my flight to congratulate Cincinnati because I had to do everything in this because I've worked very hard to try and hopefully get people to know Cincinnati and what they're about. because I didn't think that they were getting, the respect that they deserve. And I know that you've all worked, harder than me and anybody being there in Cincinnati. So seeing this happen, seeing the college football playoff finally break this glass ceiling that I don't even know why it existed, to see Cincinnati do it, bring me into that moment, because you and I talked about it. I didn't think there was any argument to be had. The only undefeated team in America of 130 FBS schools, and defeated Notre Dame on the road when Notre Dame was top 9 in the country. Bring me into that Sunday and what it felt like to be at the University of Cincinnati. And were you nervous at all? Just kind of what was going through you? I need to live vicariously through Anthony DiFino in this one.
We're always a little nervous because you've seen what has happened in the past. But I think the year we had last year, even though they say it doesn't matter, going into this year and playing some games like the Navy game, which were tough wins for us. And, you thought, okay, here we go again. But I think when things wrapped up that night after we won, seeing that Oklahoma State thing happen the way it did, I think that's a little bit of a sigh of relief. And then it was like, okay, what's going to happen in this Michigan game? We celebrate the win. We were really excited. I think everyone was motivated to say, okay, we could do this. It's in the committee's hands now. To see our name go into the top 4, it was awesome. For anyone that's worked in college athletics, regardless of where it was, I've worked for teams that have gone 1-11, and to have that experience of just being with an undefeated team and going through it, you got to cherish it because it's so hard to do. Yeah. I probably worked for more teams that probably would have been entirely defeated, like gone 0-12, than I have on the other side. So even just from a career perspective, being around it and saying you're a part of it, it's awesome. I didn't play a single game, and nor did any of my coworkers for that team, but you feel truly part of a team, and you're celebrating with the team and coaches. You're just the community. The Cincinnati community is truly rallied around this. We're a pro sports town, they say, right? Okay. But every single night, there's a 5-minute segment on the news about Cincinnati, the merchandise, the tickets, and, just what the team's doing. Having, I say, one of our 2 cornerbacks, one's really, really good. He's going to be a first-round pick, and the other one won the Thorpe Award. So to have things like that happening around the team and celebrating is awesome. But, there was a little nerves that Sunday, but at the end of the day, once we saw our name on the 4 line, we got ourselves into a war room and said, what do we need to do to put our student-athletes now on a plane to Dallas and really celebrate this while still staying focused? So the work's not done. We're, less than 2 weeks away, 13 days away from probably the biggest game of anybody's career who's working at Cincinnati, outside of some of those coaches that were at Ohio State back in 2014. So it's awesome. It truly is awesome. You gotta cherish it, because in 10 years from now, you could be working at a school, where you're 0-11, 0-12. That's just the way it works. But the community has been phenomenal. We appreciate people like you who've been pounding the drum and seeing what could happen. I think nationally, if we weren't put in the top 4, you probably would have seen a revolt from anybody who understood college football and how hard it is to be undefeated. And when you have 7 or 8 guys that are probably NFL caliber that will be part of the draft and be playing on rosters next year, that's as many as any other team in the country. So, now we just got to play the game. As Desmond Rizzer, he said it best. Someone asked him, Ritter, where should you be? He said, I don't care. Just put the ball down and let us play. Yeah. And I thought that was the greatest thing ever, because he's right. Like, if people are going to make up where you're going to be or who you're going to play, well, now the ball's rolled down. We're playing Alabama. And we're excited for that. And people are like, well, it's great. You made the Final Four, and now you're playing Alabama. Yeah, we're playing Alabama. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great game. We're going to be able to show people how great of a team we have. And, it's one of those things. You got to play the game. You got to see what happens. And, Coach Fickle gets his guys ready. I mean, when they are on a big stage, You look at the Georgia game last year; they were winning that game, the whole game.
Yeah.
And they were ready to play. So, like Rich said, just put the ball down.
Yeah, and I was there for that game, and I remind people all the time. They're like, "Well, that's the SEC. That's what they do," and I'm like, "They won on a last-second field goal." I mean, it was not commanded by Georgia. It was commanded by Cincinnati all the way until like the last couple possessions and a few passes. It was Cincinnati's game, so I give them a lot of credit, and I agree with you. This whole like, oh well, it's great that you guys made it, and they kind of pat you on the back, and they're like, but now the big boy Alabama's coming in, and like Ritter said, just put the ball down and let us play. Were you at the luncheon that Luke Fickell had? Because I'm standing there in the post-game press conference from the AAC championship, and they're like, where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing? And he's like, we scheduled something at noon. We're not changing that for the College Football Playoff Committee. We're going to celebrate our seniors. We're going to have our luncheon. And so were you at that luncheon? And what was the atmosphere like if you were?
I was not. I was across campus in our AD conference room. Once that announcement came out, we went to work. We understood we could go to either 1 to 2 bowl games. Actually 3. If they put us on the 5-6 line. So we had 3 bowl manuals in front of us. Our other deputy AD and our athletic director. We were sitting there in our room. We had 3 bowl manuals. Once it came out, we were like, okay, we'll throw the Fiesta Bowl one away. That's good. Now we have 1 and 2. And then we had to wait another 5 minutes and say, okay, which one are we going to? All right, here it's us versus Bama. We're going to the Cotton Bowl. Let's throw the Orange Bowl manual away. Let's get to work. Because literally the second they announced that, you had people calling, how do I get tickets? How do I do this? How are you going to do bowl travel packages? So we had to put our focus on the 13,000 seats we needed to sell and let the team go to work in terms of understanding the football operation side of things. What are their obligations? What are their media obligations? So we were going to work, but understanding from the people who were there, it was a great atmosphere. They celebrated the seniors, and that was important to coach. And he's not going to waver on anything like that. It's just, it is a team, it is a family mentality, and he'll do what he needs to do from a media perspective. But when it comes to those players, he makes sure that he doesn't waver from something they were going to do for them just because this other thing came along. That's how it is within the program. It's kind of how it is. Like I told you, we're not here for accolades. We're here to win and do great things and support our team and support our fans.
Yeah, and it's incredible. Anthony DiFino here with us. Anthony, closing note here, to be a part of the college football playoff, to be, going down to Arlington, Texas, playing AT&T Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play, just, for you to have this atmosphere, like you said, drinking in, you said I probably worked for more teams that have lost games than have won games, and down the road I could be on an 0-12, team here and not getting to see a moment like this. So bring me into celebrating the moment and what you're most excited about with the college football playoff and being able to be there. Because no matter what happens from here on out, you are now a member of history. What Cincinnati has done, you will always be a member on the staff when this happened. And you'll always be able to say that Cincinnati could do it 100 times over. They could never do it again, but you're a part of the time that they did it. So bring me into soaking up this moment, what you're most looking forward to, and what life is going to be like in this college football playoff for you.
Yeah, again, we're still drinking from the fire hose a little bit, trying to get our fans their tickets. So it's been fun. It's been fun to see the reactions when people are getting tickets and helping them get down to Dallas. I'm excited to get down there. I'm also excited to get on a plane on the 30th back to New Jersey for my sister-in-law's wedding on New Year's Eve. So there was 2 once-in-a-lifetime opportunities on New Year's Eve, and my wife made the decision for me that we're going to go to the wedding. But, to get down there for the first few days and be able to soak it in with the team and just watch them go through what they need to do, their practices, and being on the biggest stage of their lives, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have to pinch ourselves a little bit. Again, this is historic, but at the same time, it's just another football game. It's just another road trip. We're playing on a neutral site. Do I wish I could be at the game? Absolutely. but I'd rather be at the national championship game 10 days later. So we're making those arrangements, and we're still looking out that far. But I can't miss my sister-in-law's wedding, right? So even though they said I could, I'm not gonna fall into that trap. But like I said, I'm not playing the game. I'm gonna watch it on TV just like everyone else, except I'll probably be on an altar somewhere watching it on my phone. These kids are going to have a lot of fun. The Cotton Bowl has done a phenomenal job of making this an event for them. They have so many things going on for the fans, for the players. But at the same time, they got to stay focused, go play a game. But our fans will have a lot of fun. I hope you can make it down. If you can't, you could, watch it on TV just like I could. And, really, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a dogfight. I really do think we match up well. I think they'll have a tough time against our corners and safeties. And, we do have a running back who used to play there, who was there. So, we have a few good things going for us, and a lot of great things going for us, actually. And, you watch some of the games for both Alabama and, some of our future opponents potentially, and, we're right there with anybody. So, let's go out, have fun, play a game. Let's win a game and see what January 10th brings.
Coming from Anthony DiFino, our top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding. I hope to be down there myself, and so I'm looking forward to it. I'll hold down the fort for you and I. I don't have a sister-in-law getting married, so I don't have to worry about that. And if I get sent down there, I'm like the ace in the hole just giving you that information. So I can, present that in real time so you don't have to wait for things to buffer on the altar. So I'll do what I can, Anthony. But listen, we could talk all day. I appreciate it. I love the fact that we got to connect. And I love the fact that in different parts of life, we've been able to kind of be put in the same path, which I think is a godsend. So I look forward to the opportunity of keeping in touch with you. And definitely, texting you and talking to you through this process. But I'm so happy for you. I'm so appreciative. I'm so thankful that somebody from Central New York is doing these incredible things that you are. And like I said, it means the world to me that you and I have been able to link up and talk with each other. So I know that you're humble. I know that you give credit to other people. But shout out and congratulations to you. And, I just look forward to keeping our conversation going and open here and just really getting to see where life takes us from here.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it, Dan. Thanks to your sponsors, especially Cafe Kubal. I miss their coffee. All my love back to Central New York, and we're thankful for what you do from spreading the good word about places like Cincinnati, and best of luck to you when you're traveling down to the bowl game, and have a great holiday season.
All right, man. Take care of yourself, and good luck at the wedding. And I'll be sure to be texting you the information that you need.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, take care.
See ya. That coming from Anthony DiFino here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Had some extra time with Anthony here today, and proud that we had the opportunity to do that, and thankful that him and I got to talk a little bit longer here than we had previously had set out to do. We expanded it out, and that's the beauty of live radio and live video, is that we can let things go as they go. So big shout out to Anthony. Like I said, we talked about a lot of stuff and barely scratched the surface. So I look forward to keeping in touch with him. So very proud of him. Central New York getting it done. Let's see it, and I love it. And so big shout out to Anthony and the entire team at the University of Cincinnati, and shout out to Luke Fickle, who I greatly have respected over the years, and of course Desmond Ritter and Sauce and the team. So much love to all of you and much appreciation. I hope things continue to go well for the great University of Cincinnati. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we spin back around, Zack Haney will join us for a very special Pacer Pride to take us through the end of the week for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, shouted out by Anthony DiFino. Awesome stuff. Shout out to Matt Goddard and the team at Cafe Kubal. We'll be back right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And for this new edition of Pacer Pride, as you know, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media are the proud multimedia marketing partner of Marywood University, the first in history for Marywood University, covering their athletic programs, student athletes, coaches, and staff members. and it's all called Pacer Pride because that's exactly what we have. Is I'm a proud alum of 2007. So with that being said, our Spotlight Pacer Pride today, this broadcast, goes to Zack Haney. Zack Haney joining us here on Wake Up Call with Jay and Tortora as the aquatic director, as well as the head swimming and diving coach at Marywood University for today's special. Zack, how you doing today?
I am doing great, Dan. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to talk with you.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. And Zack, I mean, everybody can see it here on the screen. You're a young man. How old are you?
Oh man, well, I thank you for saying that. I am 28 years young, so probably one of the younger coaches that you have talked to during your rounds here. But yeah, that's probably something that stands out about people to me. I am fairly young for someone who has taken the helm of a program, and I'm very fortunate in that regard. It comes with its own challenges, but I've been blessed to be able to get to this point. And I'm not sure if we're going to mention this at any time soon, but I am an alumni of Marywood University. So it's like to be able to be there at my alma mater is quite an honor.
You know, and having that honor and being connected in that sense. And I asked how old you are because, you know, young coaches out there, people that are told that they can't do it. It's too young. You can't take over something. I started broadcasting professionally. I think, you know, all throughout Marywood University, my 4 years there, I take that as all experience and I tack that on. But coming out of Marywood University, I was told you can't have a show on ESPN until you're about 30, 31. And I was 22. So to me, it's not about what the rules are. To me, it's about what you're willing to do and what you're willing to go after. So I asked, because I know you're one of the young coaches at Marywood University, and I think it's a phenomenal thing to show the community that it doesn't matter what age you are. It just matters your capability, how much you care, and, you know, your networking. There's a lot of different things that go into it, but caring, networking, knowing the product, knowing how to sell the product, and obviously being a good coach all have places in this. So congratulations on being 28 years young, and congratulations on being one of the young coaches of any sport here in America.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I don't necessarily look at it that broadly, but yeah, I mean, I will tell you for one thing, starting out young, I'm sure you understand this, starting out young, you learn quick. You feel like you get old fast, like once you start out young. It's taking over something with, you know, maybe not as many years in the under parts of the apprenticeship types of things. Like the job itself becomes your teacher very fast, but it is a good teacher though.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, you feel really old. You know, people ask how many years have I been broadcasting? I tell them 18. I started at 18. But when I say 18 years, it makes me sound like I'm like 60 years old. So I get that wholeheartedly. You're an alum of Marywood University, and so am I. What made you come to Marywood University?
Well, so it's a funny story. So when I was a senior and I was first deciding where I wanted to go to college, here's a spoiler for the story, though. I didn't start at Marywood. So essentially speaking, I was a pretty good swimmer. I'm not going to say I was like a super national swimmer or anything, but I was pretty good. I was qualifying for like national meets. I wasn't placing super high. I was just like, I was that guy who was qualifying. So I was pretty good. And I thought I had to go Division I. Like that was my mindset, as the mindset of a lot of students that are 18 years old, that have some talent. They're like, I got to go D1 because that's what I got to do because I'm good. And if I don't go D1, I'm not good. So that's what I thought I needed to do. So I was looking at a lot of nothing big Division I, nothing like a Penn State or a Texas or a Stanford or anything like that. But some of those like lower D1s that you don't really hear about. And I won't say the school's name or anything that I ended up going to, but I did go to a Division I school for a year, and I found out that it really wasn't what I was looking for. So like the culture was it's not that the culture is bad, it's just like it's a different kind of culture, and it wasn't necessarily what I was looking for. So you really have to be willing in Division I to make it your life. Like sport has to be your life, and like sport in school, and that's pretty much it. And there's not really room for much else. And there's not lots of options or flexibility. It's like you do it. Which once again, for someone who like it is very much life. Swimming was my life, but like I wanted to have a little bit more of that flexibility and freedom. So after a year, I realized that I needed a change. Which when you're a kid, you feel like you got to pick and stick. but there's some people who are telling me like, you can transfer, like you can go somewhere else. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I started looking very much into Division III at that point, because like I was discounting D3 a bunch. Actually, the ironic part was Marywood did send me a lot of mail, like when I was being recruited, and I was like, I don't want to go to Marywood. It's a small D3 school. It used to be an all-girls school that I've never heard of, and my mother went to the University of Scranton, so obviously that's the bigger player in the area. And I was like, I don't need to go there. And I think our program is very new at Marywood too. So I think at that point it was in its second or third year when they were recruiting me. It's like 11 to 12 years now. But yeah, so I discounted it very quickly. But as soon as things turned around and I had that new mindset, my mind was way more open, which was way better. If you are a recruit listening to this, my biggest advice is have a very open mind. Don't close yourself off to any opportunity. But then I went around looking at a bunch of D3 schools, the University of Scranton included, which was a very fine school, but I was in town. And I was like, I might as well go see Marywood. And I thought it was just going to be like, it's just going to be a stop on the road. But as soon as I stepped on that campus, I was like, whoa, like I was not expecting this. Like it was very nice. It was like just a little hidden gem, because in this suburban area of Scranton, it was small, which I liked. The people really seemed to care about each other. There was a good community feel, like it was modernizing itself. And the biggest thing was I really loved the coach, like Coach Greg Brown. He's really who convinced me to come. Like he really seemed like he cared about me as a person. He cared about my goals. He cared about where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. He cared about the fact that I wanted to be flexible. Like in swimming, like in my old school, I was like swimming 1, 2, 3 things, like only, like that's it. Like you pick something, you do it. But I was a swimmer that very much liked doing everything. I'm an IMer, so I really swim all the strokes. So I liked doing a lot of things. And he was like, well, you can do that. And I will let you, like, that's something we are okay with. And just in Division III, there was just so many more options. Like you can, it's not that the practice expectations are necessarily less. It's just you have more ways to go about it. And it's like, if you want to go really into it, you can. If you can only do a certain amount, that's okay too. And I just really loved my teammates once I got there too. It was just a team that felt really connected. Like we weren't vying for, we wanted to win in our conference and everything, of course, but like we weren't having that high end pressure of like, we need to perform. And if we don't perform today, then like, what good are we and all that stuff. And so we were all bonded together by something like that was deeper than just like how we did in the pool. So yeah, it was really like the people that just made me stick with Marywood. And then once I showed up for the swim team, there was a lot of other things that very much kept me there. And it was one of 3 of the best years of my life.
And you talk about the people. And I think, in digital media and broadcasting for me, in theater for me, in so many things that I got to do there in the communications world, as well as the athletic world, it was the people. It was not being a number. It was being a person. Marywood University, whatever your major is, that from my experience, whatever your major is, whatever you're doing, we talk about the people kept us there. The people, the connection, the realness of it all. And that to me, you saying that just brings it back for me that the people are what did it. Jay Hamrin, may he rest in peace, very good friend of mine. He was 70% of the reason why I came to Marywood University. It was the way he treated me. He knew my name when I walked through the door. He walked into the room like I was talking to the receptionist, and he walked in. He goes, "Hey, there he is, Dan Tortora. How you doing?" He put his hand out, and I couldn't believe that he knew my name, that he had spent any time being prepared for me coming on campus. I didn't think I'm anything special. I'm just here. And the people, to this day, when you ask me who my closest friends are, a lot of them are from Marywood University. A lot of us have been friends for 17 years. It's the people. And I love that you said that, because in the athletic world or in the scholastic world, I think it's important for people to know that Marywood University was about the people and continues to be about the people.
Yeah. I tell recruits all the time that like that's what's going to make the difference. Any college can have buildings or technology or facilities or anything, but it's really the people. You got to see how you fit with the people. One of my years in college, some speaker came and said that was like 75% of the reason people transfer in or out of a school is because of the people. Yeah. And I agree with you. Like all of my best friends are still people from Marywood. Maybe not 17 years quite yet, but a lot of my really good friends still are people that I met at Marywood.
So when you're out there and you're recruiting, for your programs, be it on the men's side or the women's side, when you're out there and you're looking for what could be the future of swimming and diving at Marywood University, how do you kind of put this whole message together when you talk about the people and that you're not a number and that we care about you, and at the same time just kind of what you offer, the fantastic facilities and the upgrades to that over the years that I've seen from being at Marywood? How do you kind of put it all together? I'm not asking for your playbook because I don't want anybody trying to use it against you, but how do you sell Marywood University?
Oh, I don't really think that my playbook is way more advanced than anybody else. If anything, it probably could use to be more up to the level of certain things. I'm still learning so much. And I've had the grace of having coaches, instruct me in certain ways. And swimming is very much different when it comes to, except maybe track and field might be the only thing that's kind of close, but swimming is very much different when it comes to recruiting initially. Like the first steps of recruiting are different because we can tell how good someone is at the sport itself by looking at a piece of paper or a result online. When you play basketball, you can't really necessarily understand whether a certain player is good or not just based on whether the team won or even by their point total, because they could have been playing someone who was not very good. Whereas in swimming, a time is a time. A time is how fast. There is no you swam a time in better circumstances or worse circumstances. A time is a time. The pool's always the same length. So we can kind of gauge skill. So that's not the part we have to really look heavily into when we're recruiting, because we know how good you are. We can see it. But I like to try to interact with the kids as much as possible. I might not need to go to a meet to see how good you are, but I still try to get out there just to see who you are as a person. To show you, first of all, that I care about recruiting you. I'm not just sending you an email. I want to meet you. I want to figure out more about you and how you could fit on this team and just show that support. And I do tell my recruits too, when I observe them at meets or I come and I meet with them, I invite them to come to the university and meet with them. I'm looking for a little bit more than just how fast you are, because you could have a kid that's super fast, could win all of his events or something like that. But he's a guy who doesn't show up to practice. He's a guy that thinks he's too cool for school, or girl. There's girls like that too. I don't want to generalize. But they're a swimmer who thinks they're too cool for school and that they don't need to work and that they can just show up and swim and win and that they don't have to respect the rules or that they get special treatment because that they're good. And I've had some of in my very many years as coaching at all different levels, have had plenty of those. But then you have those kids that maybe are more in the middle of the road, but by watching them, you can see that they have that drive, that they want to be better, that they don't care if they're already the best, they want to be better, or they want to work, that they enjoy the process, that they're a good teammate, that they support. I want kids that support each other. I don't want 17 kids to sit on the sidelines with all their headphones on in their own world. I want a team. I want people to be supporting each other, to uplifting each other. That's what makes people swim faster. When I was an athlete, nothing made me swim faster during a race than seeing my teammates at the other end of the pool at the end of the race. So when I lift my head up to breathe, I can see everyone yelling at me to go faster. And when you get used to that, though, when there's no one there, then all of a sudden that's defeating. So I want good teammates. I want hard workers. I want people who are willing to do what needs to be done. And you'd be surprised at how many people, don't necessarily put that in there. But I can see that stuff more at meets. I can see who's wants to do all the process of what they need to do to get better. I can see who's preoccupied with helping their team, being a good leader versus being in their own bubble. And just whether you're a nice, friendly person that I think is, going to be a good addition to our team. I mean, a team is more than just a list of results. So just that personal interaction, I guess. This is a very long answer, but that personal interaction is a lot more telling than I think people realize. And especially in a sport for us, where it's easy to see how good you are already without needing to see you in person.
Yeah, and you brought so much to that, and I appreciate that. And you said, I don't want a bunch of people just, sitting out there with their headphones on, not listening to each other. This can become a very individualistic sport. How do you make it a community? How do you make sure that your team, because this isn't basketball, this isn't football, you don't need everybody out there at the same time. So when it is individualistic by nature, how do you make it a team by culture?
You would be surprised with how much just practicing together brings a team. Swimming is not an easy sport. I'm going to put that out there right now. I know a lot of people might have that myth, maybe not at the higher levels, but I'm sure many a high school swimmer that might listen to this will be like, yeah, all my classmates think swimming is so easy. It's not. We're swimming miles a day at high speeds. It's a full body sport. Not saying it's harder or less hard than any other sport, but it's it works you really hard. But like nothing can necessarily bring you together as much as kind of suffering through. I don't want to use the word suffering, but working through that together. So if there's two of you that are really pushing it in a set, and you're encouraging each other, you're uplifting each other, just through being next to one another, you're pushing yourself to go faster. That really can help more than you think in terms of like building up that camaraderie. It's like, you after a hard set or a hard practice, you get out of the pool and there's kind of this feeling between you of like, we all did that together. Like we all pushed through that. And it's like something that brings you together. And a lot of areas of life, sometimes difficulties are what kind of bring you together. Not saying that, swim practice is always difficult and terrible. And it's like, you don't want to show up because it's just a bunch of like hard stuff all the time. I mean, we obviously do stuff as a team. Like we do fun stuff every once in a while to try to, wind it down from the hard work that we do. And I don't know. I mean, competition is always, your points count. Like that's the thing. It's an individual sport towards a team goal. And you can, in a lot of ways, you can tangibly see how much you're contributing. Just like, this is how well I'm doing. And this is like everybody counts. We've had meets that have come down to like 1 or 2 points. And that literally means that anyone's finish could have been the difference between a win or a loss. Not just the guy who won first or the relay that got first, the guy who got fifth. That could have been the difference. That's so I think that really kind of brings you together in a way. Just spending a lot of time together, I think really does a good job. And they do a really good job. And our captains, I have to give a shout out to, not just our captains right now, but our captains over the years have done a really good job of bringing our teams together and uplifting them, organizing events for just the swimmers to be together outside of the pool. They spend a lot of time outside of the pool together, at least from what I've heard. So yeah, I don't know, just something about all that hard work at the same time just really, really can cement bonds together.
Yeah, and I think it's incredible. I love this. What I love about these Pacer Pride spotlights that we get to do, which is more of an expansive view of Marywood athletics, the university, and really everybody than Marywood's ever had. And that was my intention. And as an alum, it means the world to me. To have this Pacer Pride, I love the fact that we get to know you. We get to know who you are and what you're about. And you are so passionate. You're excited. Like, I hear you talking about it, and I've been swimming my whole life. Now, I didn't swim on a team, but I swam my whole life. My mom always jokes like I was born in the ocean somewhere. I love swimming. I could breathe underwater longer than I can sit here and take a deep breath and hold it above water. And so I mean, I've always loved the world of, just being in the water and something about that, testing myself, saying, okay, I'm going to go to this side of the pool. I'm going underwater. I can't come up. I got to get to the other side. And I just love to just live in there. So I am not going to pretend that I know what it's like to be a part of a team and that I know what it's like to go to all the rigor that you have to do as a member of the team and everything that you have to put together. But I can tell you that I appreciate it and I love the world that you live in. And you're so passionate that when you talk about you're not a number, you're a person, it's about the people, it's about the relationships, and this is my team, and this is what we do, and I see you smiling and you get excited. I got to find that I don't think, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when you walk into a room, just like any other honest person, when people care and they love something, you can see that. So I got to imagine for you that when you wake up every morning, it seems like you like what you do. And I would venture to say that people can probably figure that out when you're recruiting.
I would like to hope so. I mean, obviously I can't speak for a lot of other people. And I'm not necessarily a morning person, so maybe not when I first wake up in the morning, but
so unfortunately in the afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, maybe in the afternoon. It's a good thing I don't see the recruits at 6:30 in the morning. And swimming we're also stereotypically one of those sports. It's like we're always up early, which is not necessarily the funnest part of the sport. But I am passionate about swimming. I mean, I love swimming. Swimming's given a lot to me. And I like that, maybe our team's not like the best in the country or even the largest team out there. But I feel like I have a group of kids that feel the same way, that they really love swimming. And it's very misunderstood. Like people don't necessarily understand swimming is a sport that people remember exists every 4 years. But it's a great sport. It really does a lot because there's so many ways to win in swimming. You might not win the meet, but maybe you won an event. Maybe you didn't win an event, but maybe you got a best time. Like there's so many ways to win in swimming, which I think is why it's such a good sport and it's a good confidence builder. But yeah, I mean, I try as much as I can in moments to be passionate and to translate that. And maybe I'm not perfect at it all the time, but yeah, swimming is just really great. And that's one thing a lot of the older coaches tell me. It's like, you're young, use your energy. It's like, well, that's what I got.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, and you just brought it up, and it was something I was going to go to. Speaking here with Zack Haney, very excited to have Zack here in this Pacer Pride special, and this episode of Pacer Pride featuring head swimming and diving coach Zack Haney here for the men's and women's teams, as well as the aquatic director at Marywood University. Before I let you go, a couple final points, one of them being what you just addressed. You said swimming is something that people pay attention to or remember every 4 years because it's an Olympic sport. And so people say, oh my God, let's go America. And then it falls away. And we see that with soccer. However, the MLS is now, I think, one team away from having as many as Major League Baseball and the MLB and in the NHL. They're right around 30. And it was like I fell asleep when they had 12. I woke up and now they have pretty much right there close to 30. So when you have an Olympic sport and you have people that care so much and it's about our country every 4 years, how do you bridge the gap and how do you remind people like, hey, these people that you see in the Olympics, well, they do this stuff in between that gets them to qualify. So it's a lot more than them just showing up and swimming for a couple weeks.
Yeah, and a little bit of a testament to that too is that in swimming we have like training cycles. So we train a lot for one moment and one meet. So it's not necessarily like the NFL or MLS or anything like that, where like every regular season game is important because you have to qualify for playoffs and everything like that. Like swimmers are literally training 4 years to swim one meet and then hopefully another meet after that. So it's hard it's getting people to understand that. But I think America's doing a better job recently of making swimming more visible because there are a lot of other competitions between the Olympics. World Championships happen every other year. There's Pan Pacs. Now the ISL is becoming a thing, which is like the new professional swim league, which I'm sure many people who are listening to this have no idea what that is. And that's okay because it's still working on being visible. But it's almost like our version of like the NBA now, or at least what we're trying to do with it.
Yeah.
But it's, first, when it comes to young swimmers, it's like first you got to capitalize on that Olympic movement of like every 4 years. It's like, wow, swimming's amazing. It's like, all right, we'll get in and try it, and then hopefully we'll hook them there, and that they'll stick around. But I won't lie, it is kind of a struggle because it is a paradox because swimming is so simple. It's you swim from one end to the other. Whoever gets there first is the winner. But people still don't really understand all the intricacies. Like you think you understand it, but there's a little bit more to it than that. And it's very exciting when there's something behind it, when you're rooting for your country. That's super exciting. But then like the rest of the year, when it's not international competition, it's like, okay, well, I'm cheering for a person, like, and you have to like kind of figure out where that comes into play. So there's a lot of logistical things that that can be done, I suppose. But I mean, just literally, I mean, the kids that are in it, they love it to death. Yeah. It's just being able to show other people. And I think once people get to a meet, like a really good meet, like they'll understand of like when everything's coming down to a race and literally it's hundredths of a second are separating two guys or two girls. And it's really some of the most electric atmosphere I think you can ever get. I think anybody standing on that Olympic pool deck will tell you it's probably the most electric that anything is ever in like a 2 minute span. It's like the most electric you'll ever have an atmosphere. But yeah, it is still something I think we're trying to figure out, despite America is very, very good at swimming. It's about trying to figure out how to get people more interested, I guess, in the watching. The swimming, the actual doing it part. I mean, anybody listening to this, or parents listening to this, try your kid in swimming. It's a great sport.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of it is what you said in the reality of all of this, and that is the fact that this sport that is such a beautiful thing, and you said, well, what do? Do they just support outside of the Olympics somebody individually. No, they support a school. Marywood University would be a great thing to do. So you can find out more at MarywoodPacers.com. And of course, you can get in touch with Zack Haney if you'd like to. All of his information's up there, the aquatic director and the head swimming and diving coach for men's and women's side of things at Marywood University. For this edition of Pacer Pride and this spotlight, Zack, I feel like we barely scratched the surface. We had fun. I got to see emotion, and that excited me and got me jazzed for this thing. When I see somebody care about something, it makes me want to know it. I don't care if you got on here and told me that you love crickets and you want to talk about how cool crickets are. If you feel that, then I'm going to feel that, and I'm going to understand that and give it a shot. I love seeing passion. I love that the things that I love about Marywood, you love too. So on the recruiting trail and wherever it may be, and in the meets and everything that you have going on, I'm a proud supporter of men's and women's swimming and diving at Marywood University, because behind every great swimmer, I would like to think is a great coach. So keep doing what you're doing. Stay 28 years young as long as you can. And thank you for being a part of today's show.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan. And thank you for everything you're doing for our alma mater here. You're doing a great job. And I love this stuff. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself.
You too.
Thanks.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecubal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-pay non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is absolutely positively worth the drive every single time. Make your way out to the Millhouse Market today. And make sure that you download their app on the Google Play and Apple App Store to have everything at your fingertips, from their homemade breads and desserts to their quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, they are there for you every Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Millhouse Market, worth the drive. Absolutely, positively, every single time. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, I want to thank you all for being a part of the show today. I want to thank my incredible guests, Juanita Ward in Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. I want to give a special thanks to our top dog of the week, CNY native and University of Cincinnati Deputy AD for External Affairs, Anthony DiFino, and of course our Pacer Pride Spotlight guest, Zack Haney, the men's and women's swimming and diving head coach, as well as the aquatic director at Marywood University. And I want to thank Carvel for the annoying moment of the week as well. So appreciate you all. Thank you all for being a part of today's show. So much more coming up at Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You are watching and listening live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets life, on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and facebook.com/livenowdt, as well as on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, where you can subscribe and bookmark for everything. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, and iTunes and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. All you have to do to find us on any one of these channels is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Proud thanks to all of our Central and Upstate New York partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel, DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, where you can order popcorn for bowl season and watch all your games. Fill your bowl with kettle corn from Ma and Pa's while you watch bowl season. How about that? Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com, proudly delivering to all 50 states, including being in our community on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Progressive Dental, Avicolis, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Lemoyne Dolphins, PB&J's Lunchbox, Honda City of Liverpool, Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, and Mother's Cupboard. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the proud multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. Head out to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and click subscribe for our entire library of our specials with the Lemoyne Dolphins, as well as listening and watching live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for Dolphin Time, as we celebrate the Lemoyne Dolphins all throughout the month, the first and third Wednesdays of every month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We have Bob Beretta, the AD, with me, Dan Tortora, for AD and DT, celebrating Lemoyne and focusing on a specific topic for every episode. And of course, the second and fourth Wednesday of each month with Dolphin Dive, focusing in on a student, athlete, coach, or staff member, and speaking to them on why they chose Lemoyne, what it means to them, and so much more. Make sure that you are with us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time live, as well as clicking on the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com, subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt to watch all of our specials with Lemoyne, and by going to LemoyneDolphins.com for more information. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the proud multimedia marketing partner of the Marywood University Pacers. Pacer Pride comes to you every Friday, including this Friday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where you can connect with Marywood University with more information and more spotlights than they've ever received in the history of the university, as we make history with Marywood University. Be with us here every Friday to celebrate their student athletes, coaches, and staff members with our Spotlight special, Pacer Pride, and subscribe to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt for all of our episodes, as well as the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com, and find out more information by going to marywoodpacers.com. With that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic day. God bless, no stress, do your best. Never let anybody stand in your way. Always be yourself. Love your life. And just be positive, be you, and be happy. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Bowl season starts in a half an hour, and I'll be watching. Bahamas Bowl kicks it off with former Syracuse head coach and defensive coordinator Scott Schaefer. No matter what, Scott gets to be in the Bahamas. And I'm excited to see Middle Tennessee. So watch the game. Enjoy the time. God bless to you all, and I'll talk with you soon. Be well, and make sure you find out all 43 bowl game predictions by going back to my show with Papa Joe, which I'll be sharing again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's channels, at Wake Up Call DT on Facebook, at Call DT on Twitter, and at Wake Up Call _DT on Instagram. For now, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from the Cafe Kubal studios. Buy one, get one, bags of coffee at Cafe Kubal, equal or lesser value at all of their locations this entire weekend from December 17th to December 20th. And shout out to the location on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, celebrating their 1-year anniversary this Saturday, December 18th. God bless to Cafe Kubal and to all of you, and we'll talk with you soon.